In today's episode, we're sculpting this, which means we're carving this into this. We'll show you how we do it, work some mad detailing magic, recap our sculpture, and dazzle you with breathtaking cinematics. Looking for top 5 entertainment for the next 40 minutes? Then park it right here and stick around. Hey, good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, City Sculptor, and you have made your way back to Pengasas Bay. It's a great day in the bay, and we're looking in on the subject of today's build, which is Bentkeel Pointe. Now, Bentkeel Pointe gets its name because there have been more than 1 or 2 ships that have run aground in the shallow waters just off the point here, so a good savvy captain has to steer clear of this shore. Now, Bentkeel Pointe is going to be the home of our big residential build today, because if you remember a few episodes ago, we tore out a bunch of residential in this space out here called off-camera flats. We built back a bunch of that in 10K Cove right back in here a couple episodes back, and we're going to continue on our journey of re-adding population back into the city by jetting across the bay and tackling Bentkeel Pointe. Now, Bentkeel Pointe sits just outside of our downtown build too. You got our downtown over in this space here, and then you got the west edge over here. And now Bentkeel Pointe, I think, will be a great addition to the kind of the extension, if you will, of the western section of downtown. This will have a lot of medium density and maybe even some high density residential. And then we're going to have some lovely beach properties that kind of make their way around the shore as well. Again, we're going to develop everything that's just kind of the, I guess, if you will, the south, if you will, of this road here in this space out here. And then we're also going to drop in some elementary school and postal services kind of down in this corner here, just kind of work that way through. We'll take our new tram line that we just set up in our last episode and thread that back down through this community as well. And I'm sure we'll have a few other little surprises along the way as well. All right, you're going to want to stick around to the very end and watch our cinematics. Those are always a treat. They're always a pleasure. And I just threw a lot at you guys, so with all that as a backdrop, let's do this. All right, the first thing we want to do is we want to build out our road network. And you see this Elk Street here, this big, kind of an arterial type street. Let's use that as our anchor point. And I'm going to start by grabbing a 2-lane road. And then I want to come to a point where I'm about 3 squares away from that road and just draw my first little line here. And I want to use this again kind of as an anchor. I want to leave ourselves some buffer between us and that big collector type street there. And then I just want to stem out. I'm going to turn off my snap to zone grid and snap to guidelines. And I just want to come out this direction until I match up, say, right about there with that street. And then I'm going to come off in the other direction. And I want to run this thing until it just can't go any further, really. Just run this out to about here, just simply as a placeholder. We're going to come back and kind of trim this up and work this area a little bit differently in the future, but that gives us a good starting point. And then from here, what I want to do is I want to take this line here and I want to replicate the grids I built in my downtown section. And my downtown, if you recall, had grids that were 112 by 200. And so I'm just going to plop those in here as well. So 112 by 200. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build those across this way and kind of work my way down in here. Not all the way, but just create a nice frame up. All right, so why don't you guys sit tight while I do that real quick like. All right, so with that in place, you know what I need to do? I need to come in here and I want to upgrade this center road to a 4-lane road. And in doing so, that's going to cause me to want to move some things a little bit here. So let's do this, this, and this. And then we're going to come back out here and extend these just a little bit. There. So with that in place, the reason I moved this other road here is I wanted to maintain that 112 distance between the edge of this road and the edge of this road. And with a 4-lane road, you kind of have to do that. You just have to widen out your gaps just a little bit. It's obviously a wider road. All right. So with that in place, now we can focus our energy over here. There are a couple of things I want to do over here. First, I want to identify this road comes straight out of this roundabout here, and I want to identify kind of where that is. And I think it's about here. Now, I don't want to connect directly to that road, right there at least. What I want to do is I just want to run down a little placeholder line that just comes down to, I don't know, about here for right now. And then we're going to ultimately bend this road to follow this curve right along into that placeholder point there. But then the other thing I need to do is I need to create a connection that comes out of here and runs down into this street. And I want to use that same 4-lane road that I used running through kind of the center of our district. I'm going to turn off this snap to zone cell length, and then I should be able to just run straight out of here. Now, my purpose for doing this is just to create one of 3 access points into this neighborhood. And let's just go ahead and draw this line straight down here. I don't need to come to a natural conclusion just yet. I just want to run this out so it just forms this straight line here. And then now I've got, I've got this line here. I want to come back and, actually, we'll just connect that in first. All right, so let's start with our small road here. I'm going to put on my simple curve. I'll turn all these snaps back on. And the idea is let's just draw this line out here so that it connects with this point over here. And we'll bend that into there. And then, I'm going to come back in here and let's trim this back a little bit. And now I can run off of here and just run straight down 112. And now I can bend this one in there to meet it as well. So let's do that. I think we're in there. We're in there just fine now. In fact, I don't know if I want to even. I don't know. Should we try and connect this one into a road here too? Let's trim this back a little bit, and then run this down 112 again. 112. And we'll curve this one in as well. Ooh, that's the big main street here. So let's just see how this works. Yeah, we'll just see how this all comes together here. I might have to bend that in there. So, with that one in place, I think now we can kind of start to flesh out what does this look like coming in from here into that spot there. And I can trim both of these back. In fact, what I'll do here is I'll come in and I'm going to cut back, let's call half of that distance, somewhere right around in there. And then I'll cut that out. And then I'll come back and kind of do something similar on this side. I'll cut back to about, there we go. And now let's see if I can bend this to attach to that. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. And then I can go straight in to this road over here. There, now we've got connection to our neighborhood, to the outside world. And then we can kind of figure out what we're going to do with this little fun little corner down here. But I like where we're started. All right, so now let's make this little area a little bit more interesting, at least the road layout. Let's see if we can make that, add a little bit more interest here. I want to put my roads back on here, a small road, if you will. I want to turn the contour lines back on and see that we have this nice little kind of slope that makes its way down to the shore there. And then, of course, we've got this peninsula that juts out here. But I want to use my first piece of road, and I want to follow along this contour line kind of up along here, because I'd like to put some really nice big beach property homes down along the shore. And so we'll start with just a continuous curve. I'm going to come out from right about here, and I want to bend out in this direction and then work its way down along that shore. I don't want to get too close to the shore. Maybe a little closer than that, though. Maybe try and follow this contour line the best that we can. Yeah, that's probably good like that. Let's just use that for right now. And then I have to attach this back into here. And this would be interesting if it's kind of swept up into there and reconnected there, huh? Let's see if we can do that, make that happen. So in that case, we'd come out here. We'd turn the snap to guidelines back on. I'd run out in this direction until I hit the center of that road. I'm going to make sure I'm at a 180 degree angle. There we go. Nice 180. And then cut across. And then let's just snap that into place there. Yeah, that makes for an interesting little intersection. And while we're at it, just down here, let's put a little, maybe it's a good size roundabout here. Maybe something like that. That's probably good. That should be able to handle all the traffic flow coming in and out of there. And then let's make our way back over into this space here. Before I do that, let's connect back in here. Let's just make sure we're not cul-de-sacing our neighborhood out, and put in a nice connection road. And I think I want to accomplish that by taking this road and bending that up, along, and into this direction here. All right, so let's see here. Oh yeah, okay, that's kind of interesting down in that corner there. And then we can cut this off because we can come in here and build this space out over here. So the next thing I want to do is I want to come in here and this is going to seem like a strange thing to do at this point, but I want to put in a couple of tram stops. And the tram stops I want to put in are going to be, let's just say, will it not let me do it? Oh, it won't let me do it. So I have to upgrade the road first, which is fine. We can do that. All right. So I want to run tram service through this whole neighborhood, and I'm going to run this tram line all the way up to there. And now I can put in a tram stop. Let's do the European style. EU style. I'm not sure if there's a difference in signage or whatever, but I'm going to put that in the center of this block here. And then I want to put another one maybe in the center of this block here, just so we have adequate service. And then I can grab our tram line tool. We already have this tram line running back and forth to our Sports Technology Institute. Let's just drag this down here and then put that right into here. And then we'll do the same thing with the other side of the line. We're going to drag that right down into here. And then now we'll have tram service starting to run through our neighborhood. So the next thing we're going to want to do is I want to take this, I want to create another block here. You know, I've got the space to do it. So let's just go ahead and do it. I'm going to run out of this, do my 112. And this probably can just go straight. I can make a nice, interesting looking little park up here, maybe. I don't know. And then from over here, I'd like to have like a little river road. So this shoreline here, let's use that for some really nice big luxury homes, much like we're going to do over here. So let's create a little river road that follows along that shore here. And I'm going to turn off my snap to guide lines. Snap to guide lines, turn that off. And let's put on the continuous curve. I want to run this, let's just say, oh, there's our first tram. Hey, I like it. And then we're going to just bend this down into here. And in fact, I will snap to guidelines back on. Then I can come in here and see if I can. There we go. Now it goes into there. All right. And now we have ways to connect this to here and then bend this guy up into there. So let's do that real quick like. There we go. Now we've got a bit of an interesting grid that's formed up over here that is kind of respecting our shoreline a little bit better. Let's drive this guy right straight across too. All right, cool. Now we can come back down through here, and this will be the fun part here. I want to connect a little tiny road that runs down along this point here, where we can put some really nice little houses in there too. And so I'll do so by getting a small roundabout. Let's do that, and then let's take an alley road. Let's maybe we'll stem off of here, make our way down here, and then create like a road that sits up along this ridge line here and allows these homes to face towards downtown. That would be pretty nice. All right, let's see. I'll start on this end, and I want to come out here. Let's see if I come out like this and then bend back. So if I snap to there and then I come back around, you can see I'm trying to hug this contour as closely as possible and still leave some decent sized build squares. Now if I come right up in through there, yeah, that's probably good there. All right, let's see what that road looks like. Yeah, it's this nice little windy road that kind of makes its way out to the end of that point. Let's see if we can't run a little bit of road up onto that hill up there too, because it might be kind of neat to have a couple of homes facing out that way across the bay. Let's just see if we can make that happen. I can probably get a couple little houses up on that ridge there overlooking the entrance to the bay. All right, very cool. Let's get to the work of starting to build out some of these grids in here. So I'm going to start with the block that kind of started it all off, and that's this one here. I want to put row homes. I thought row homes would look really nice kind of along this Chestnut Street here as it makes its way down along Elk Street here as well. And I thought that would look really kind of sharp in this space. And so my candidate of choice is the EU medium density row housing. Let's use that. And I want to be kind of particular about how we do this. We're going to go down 6 deep. We're going to bring that in. Let's see here, maybe 6. Okay, so let's do that on this side too. Okay, so I've got 6 units there. I want to come in with let's come in with some pathing. I want to take this pathing and I want to run this. Let's turn off the snap to sides building. Just run this right straight down into here. Do the same thing on the other side. And then I'll come back in here and do the same thing kind of in these center sections. We'll just put that right through there. Yeah, and then you've got some nice EU style homes, row homes that'll fill in there nicely. And I want to trim back each of these short length ones so that they ultimately fill in and they all look uniform. And then in behind it, I'm going to change gears and I'm going to go over to the North American style row house and just come in here and I'm only going to leave one space in behind it. Just want to do that. We'll do the same thing in this center section. No, in fact, in the center section, I'm going to leave that open for a second. And I need to put some parking in right in here. So let's see here. What are my options for parking? Well, that would certainly fit. That's a little bit bigger. Let's use that one. Yeah, because then I can run a path that comes right straight through here. And it's going to be key in this whole neighborhood to just kind of maintain some really good pedestrian access, good walkability throughout this entire neighborhood. And, that's a good start for that block right there. I'm probably going to do something similar to the next one. So let's just go ahead and tackle that right now. Yeah, there we go. Now we got our first 2 blocks done. Okay, so now before things start to get away from us, and parking is going to be at a premium and down in this space, I want to put in some of these underground parking buildings. I want to put one, say, right here, and then I want to flip around the other way and drop one in there. And it's going to seem like a lot of parking, but there's going to be a lot of medium and high density type structures kind of flowing through this area. And I think it's going to be super important for us to have parking. In fact, while I'm at it, I think I'm going to move those. I'm going to put this one on this block here. I'm just going to put a little more distance between them. That'll allow us to build something kind of a little more grand in this central area here. And then now we've got something in here where we can just continue to make sure we have plenty of parking for our residents. The next thing I want to do is I want to return to our original block here, and I want to put a pop of height right down in this space here. I'll do that by, starting with an alley road. Let's come right off of here. And then we're going to come down 56 meters and then come straight over here. I don't want to connect there. I just want to have a big, maybe a taller building in here. We're going to go to North American style, high density housing. And this is going to be a monster in here. It's going to be really tall. We don't really have any height over on this part of town. You can see our downtown is real close here as we're starting to make our way into downtown. And my intent with this space is to kind of keep it low to medium size here so you can see a natural progression running into downtown. But I think it's okay to have a big, tall condo tower here and there. And in fact, I might even come into this space down here and put some, kind of smaller condo towers. Let's do that now. Yeah, so now I've got a little condo complex that's going to sit right in this space right down in here. Now let's focus on this block over here. I'm not going to have it crossed. I think I want to run it up to the edge of this edge of this parking garage. We're going to run out to here, and then we're going to come right out to here and then back down into there as well. So now we've got a nice little frame in place for this block, and I want to come in here with an EU style high density and do a little 5x5 piece right there. That's going to grow up nice and tall. And then let's see here. Let's grab a couple of North American high density pieces right in here. Maybe we'll put a little 3x3 right there. All right, so those will be fairly tall, but they are going to be really the only pops of height that are going to be in this space over here. Now we can turn our attention down to this block here. And what I'd ideally like to do is drop in some big commercial here. So I'm going to go back to commercial. I'm going to go to EU style. I'm going to do EU high density and put a big 5x5 right there. Yeah, that's nice. And that leaves a little bit of open space in between some of these buildings. And then let's work our way down along here. Let's see here. I want to take these paths. I want to create some paths. I got that one, remember? And let's just have one run right out of here, down onto this road here. And then that gives us a couple little spots right in here to build. So let's go back in there. Let's do a couple of those 3x4s again. All right, so we've got those 2 blocks built out, and we're starting to get some height in here. Very cool. I want to let those have some time to fill in, and I want to return back down to these curved sections here. Now, I'm going to pick up my my EU row housing again. And we'll return to our North American style row houses. Yeah, like that. And now I can run some paths in there. Let's hope those paths don't disrupt the way we've got things built out. Ooh, this is going to be tough. I don't like that. There we go. Now we've got those in place, and those will start to fill in. I want to repeat that process down into this space right in here. All right, so first thing, now lesson learned, right? Let's put in our paths first. All right, let's go somewhere right around in here. Yeah, and then we'll come right into here, do the same, and now we've got our blocks all set. I think we're safe. All right, get out your tool belts. Let's start building. There we go. All right, those will fill in, and now we can figure out what we want to do in behind it, and that should be kind of interesting too. So let's come in here now and drop in a couple of little parking spots. A little small parking lot right along this road here. Get right in there. And then do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, maybe something like that. That's probably good. And then on this side of the street, let's get that path right down to here. Yeah, do the same thing over here. So let's come back in here. We had some row homes across the street. Let's come back in and redo that. Let's go. I want to stay with the North American style over here and just do some smaller row homes right here. Yeah, like that. And then what I want to do is I want to grab some North American medium density. And I want to come in here. How many squares do I have? 6. So let's go 2 by, I think we could probably do 2 by 4. And then do the same thing over here. And I picked 2 by 4 as a configuration because hopefully then it doesn't get too tall. I don't want this to really be super tall over here. I just want it to be kind of this impression of a medium size apartment complex here. Down on the other side of these, then I think that's where we can work in some mixed use. And I would like to let's do the European style mixed use housing. And then come in here with let's do a 3 by 4 if we can. There we go. Now we've got some mixed use in there. So we start to weave in some commercial. And then, so residential over here, you're going to start to see commercial now down on this side a little bit here as we start to flesh this out. All right, so now let's turn our focus on these blocks right down in here. Let's put some high density shops in here. Let's do EU style. Okay, good. All right, we're in shape, good shape there. And now I can run behind it with a walking path. Lots of crosswalks, as you can tell in this development, this neighborhood. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We'll run out to there, and I can create a nice little walking alley there. And then behind this, I want to come in with some low density business. So let's go 3 by 4. Maybe we're just forced to stick with those. I don't want to keep blowing up roads and start over, but that's the idea there on that side. So these are all high density commercial. Now let's come to this block here and we're going to do a kind of a mix, if you will, of mixed use. So we'll do some EU mixed use in this space. So let's go to this corner one here. We're going to go 2 by 4 and hopefully, of course not. All right. So what happens if I come in here and I take that out? There we go. Sometimes you just gotta be smarter than the game. I'll let you know if that ever happens for me. So now we're in there, and then we're going to go 2 by 4 there and 2 by 4 there. And then let's get back to our little sidewalk. Maybe across the street from this one, we do mixed use. So let's see what that looks like. So let's come back in here with our walking paths behind. And then we can put our small little retail shops in here. So let's come back in here. So we'll come there. And now we've got lots of commercial floating in down here as well. So we'll have lots of places for people to shop. Ooh, I like the looks of those. Those are kind of cool looking. Very good. Now we've got most of those blocks built out, and we can turn our attention to these remaining blocks that are down here in this space here. So I like the way that these North American mixed use buildings turned out. What was that configuration? 3 by 4? Let's continue that pattern down over here. Let's go 3 by 4 here, 3 by 4 here, and 3 by 4 here. And then down along this, I think we're going to change the orientation and come in with some EU row homes in here. Let's do North American style medium density right out of this corner here. And then we'll do North American style row. Now, up in this street here, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to come in with our EU-style beachfront properties, waterfront housing, and then come in by a 3 by 6. Let's jump all the way back across to the other side of town. We're going to just start dotting in all of these beachfront properties down along the shoreline road here. In fact, let's start all the way out here on the end. I think this could be kind of fun. Yeah, and those will kind of sit there on the end, and these would be, very exclusive lots out here. These ones we'll just go ahead and drop in. Let's go 3 by 5. Yeah, those should fill in really nicely down along that shore, and then I can come back over to this little shore down here and do some smaller versions. Yeah, something like that. Down in this corner here, I can go European style row. Yeah, that'll be just kind of a cute little corner of row homes in there. I want to come back to some North American medium density, but I want to make them small. 2x4 is probably the right configuration. One there. One there. Ooh, Polaris Suites. Residents will enjoy the atmosphere of this smooth, luxurious building. All right, great. New signature building. Nice. And then I can come in here and just kind of dot those 1x3s right in there as well. So it kind of creates this nice little small, cute little village back in this space here that's not too dense. Okay, so with all these people moving in here to Bentkeel Pointe, we're going to want to add some schools and services in here as well. I had my eye on this little space back in here. And now I can come in with a school. Yeah, like that. Okay. And then I can come in with a 2-lane road. And then I can come back in with another elementary school. And then let's come down with an alley road. All right, then let's take an elementary school and see if that fits in there. Upgrade you with one of those. I'm going to upgrade you with one of those. Just kind of make a nice little pattern here. Ooh, let's upgrade all of these to have the expansions. And then this one here, let's put a couple playgrounds right here and here. And that should really help our education availability. Let's in fact check this right here. Now we've got the capacity for 18,000 and eligible students is 17,300. This number is going to continue to climb. We'll probably be back in a deficit pretty shortly, but that at least gets us going in the right direction. Yeah, I like that. Getting all of our services kind of tucked into this corner here, away from the kind of the hustle and bustle of the town itself, is probably a good move. That way we can get good freeway access for our postal vans and so forth, and then good access for our elementary schools. This feels like a really great place for us to jump in and do a beautification time lapse. I really like the way that this is starting to shape up, and we've got a fair amount of work to do as well. So let's start down here. We can add some additional plantings and stuff. I don't want to put a lot of tall trees in there because I don't want to block those beautiful views of downtown. Same thing with along this shore here. Maybe just add some Scrabble along here. And then I can weave in some decorative plantings and parks throughout here, kind of the same in this area. I've got this walking alley that kind of runs down through here. I can beautify that and use that as a nice little green belt that runs through the middle there. I can add some liveliness to some of these wide open spaces that are around some of these taller towers. And then, of course, I'm going to want to kind of just add some foliage that runs along here, along our Elk Street and such. I might have a few other tricks up my sleeve for this build. Oh yeah, we can come back in here and tidy up around the elementary school and the post office as well. But again, like I said, I think this feels like a really great time for us to jump in and do some heavy lifting here off camera. So why don't you guys just sit back, relax, enjoy the time lapse. Let's reconnect here afterwards and we can recap our sculpture. Welcome back, and I give you Bentkeel Pointe. Yeah, that was the subject of today's episode, and it's a really big residential district that sits just outside of downtown. You can see downtown in the distance over there, and you got the west edge that just sits right in front of it. Now, Bentkeel Pointe occupies all of this area down in here, and we brought in thousands of new residents into Pengasas Bay with this build. It was really needed, too, after, a couple episodes ago, we had torn out the old off-camera flats. We had a bit of a population deficit in the city, and this really helped close that gap. In fact, I think we have more residents now than before we tore off on-camera flats, so I think we're in good shape. All right, there's a lot to unpack, so let's just jump right on in. I want to show you these row homes right here, this European-style row homes. Those were the first things that we put in here, and I thought that they framed up the neighborhood really nicely. They're going to be beautiful and elegant once they mature and get to level 5. I think they're just absolutely lovely sitting along that road. Now, before I dive into the core of the neighborhood, I want to take you over here. We did a couple of things as well. We put in this big elementary school complex right down in here. Let's zoom out just a little bit. And we had a big deficit for elementary education in our city, and this has gone a long, long way to close that gap. I think we're probably getting pretty close to break even right now, and we could probably put in a couple more campuses like this in other parts of the city, but I like the way that this turned out. I thought it was beautiful, elegant, and gives the kiddos an opportunity to learn some more. And then we also put in this big post office down here in the corner. We could sorely use the postal service in this part of town as well, and I think this was a really good addition to this space. It's also kind of fits in with this noisy freeway interchange that's going on behind us here, so I think that's it's a great service building. Oh, and another thing that we did, of course, during our time lapse was I took care of this little marina that was back here. Now, if you recall, when we built out the west edge, we had set aside this promenade for construction, but we never really got back to it. And so I used our time lapse today as an opportunity to come back in here and to build this all out. So I like the way that turned out, just a little tiny marina in there. Jumping back into the neighborhood, you can see we stepped up some elevation. I'm going to get a little lower here. So you've got your European-style row homes. Then you've got your North American-style row homes. Then you've got some North American medium-density homes. And then you step up to North American mixed use. And then jump across here to some more medium density, but then you get into these condo towers, and you got this first one, which is a set of 3, and you can see there's a parking garage down in front of it, some lovely gardens kind of scattered all around it as well, and I thought that turned out really elegantly. Now, if I take a look out a little bit further here, we've got this massive North American style residential tower that sits in there, and that's a great statement piece for the area. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit in closer here too. You can see I put some privacy walls that kind of framed up around the building there, some gardens and plantings to make their way around, and that privacy wall wraps all the way around here on this side as well. Now, I've done the same treatment over here on this European style building with a privacy wall that wraps around, and then they've got their own little private gardens that sits in behind as well. Now, as I kind of zoom right down into here, just in between these buildings, I've got this raised garden that sits up in here. And as those trees and bushes mature, that should thicken up really, really nicely and just kind of have this elevated garden look. So as I zoom back out, you can see these European-style towers up in here, these residential pieces, and I just love the way that those look. And think about that. They've got these amazing views of Pengasas Bay, of downtown, and of course, looking across the bay, we've got 10K Cove, and you've got Leggett's Curve area back there, Planters Park. It's just a fantastic location. Now, we put in a lot of beachfront properties in this episode as well, and you can see as I zoom down in here, lots of these different colored tile roofs and a variety of different sizes of homes or styles of homes, all pretty large. And I like the way that those front up this main east-west boulevard here as well. And then, we've got some additional more mixed-use buildings down in here, some more beach properties here, and I'm going to follow right along here. The beach properties make their way kind of all the way down out to this side here, and of course along this shore, and then ultimately on out to our point. And you've got these, houses that sit up on this ridge here with spectacular views of cruise ships coming by, and then this little road that meanders on down to the point here just kind of makes its way out there. Maybe it's one of the original roads that were out there that's been upgraded now to to concrete or asphalt. But just imagine having a home sitting out here on this point looking over the bay. Wow, what a view. All right, well, let's not tarry. Let's jump into our top 5 design element. Yeah, it's hard to see. It's tough to see this one, but this is Barracuda Park. And the head of the fish is down over here with its teeth, its snapping jaws, the eye of the fish here. You've got your gills in here, and then of course you've got the scales that make their way down along here, ultimately to the tail, the barracuda. The Barracuda Park. Yeah, that was our top 5 design element today. And it was just kind of fun tossing that in there. I thought that was a nice little addition, keeping in our nautical theme here in Pengasas Bay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. This one was a lot of fun. And again, we needed a lot of residential. I think we handled that task today. Now, just as a reminder, we're a growing channel, and we've also added our Patreon memberships. And if you have an interest in supporting the page and supporting the channel even further, make sure to check out our Patreon page. There's 4 levels of memberships, and hopefully you'll find something that you like over there. Now, if you saw something that you liked today, be sure to leave us a comment below. Really do love hearing from you. And while you're at it, make sure to chip away at that like button and hammer that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest here in Pengasas Bay and the Grand Vanillica series as well. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to bid you guys a fond farewell. And until next time, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.